Sentez, what's up, man?
What's up, Joe? Long time no see.
Yeah. Wait, since Super 32, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot gone on since then. So, how's everything going, man? How you guys all dealing with this Corona mess going on?
The same as anyone else, man. Just locking in. I probably get out more than most, and I'll come up here to the office, and I figured if somebody's here to stop me, they shouldn't be here either, so we're getting away with that a little bit.
Nice, man. You're lucky. We stay. We're staying home a lot. You know, I go to the store once a week or something. But my wife's pregnant. My parents and grandma is close, so we're trying to be pretty careful. But man, there's only so much time you can spend somewhere without going a little bit crazy. And my boy, he needs some space. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your family?
Good. So, Sega's a little bit different now. He's like 8.5, so I can't keep him indoors. So he's been. We have another set of neighbors. It seems like all these kids moved into our neighborhood, so they're still out playing. So I'm just hoping. I'm hoping everybody else is just kind of keeping it within the community, but you never know.
Yeah, what Florida? There's a lot of talk about Florida. Oh, sorry, you're from Florida. I was thinking Florida. But, is your family back in Florida still?
No, they moved out to Michigan. My dad retired. He's in Gladwin, just north of Mount Pleasant. So he still tries to make it out to those wrestling matches at Central.
Oh, nice. That's probably pretty cool for you when you go visit them. Go check out the alma mater.
That's right. Yeah, they're doing some cool things out there. So they had a pretty good team this year. So it's always fun to watch the Chippewas.
Yeah. Well, man, I was really pumped about the news and you being promoted to head coach. You know, I was thinking about it like your career. End of high school and college was like right when I started doing wrestling coverage. In fact, where you won 08 high school nationals. Was that at like 119?
Yeah, I think it was 119, 119 or 120, whatever the weight class was.
Yeah, and so you were like one of the first guys I ever interviewed, and then 4 times. Your college career was great. I seemed to be at like tons of tournaments, and you were one of my favorite guys to watch. So. Yeah, it's really exciting now to watch you. This next step. How do you feel about it? Is it really exciting?
Yeah, it's exciting. Everybody always asks what's going to be like following Kolat, right? And the way I look at it is either you take over a program that's not very supported and not doing very well, and you have the stress of that, or you take over a program that's got a ton of support, and you got to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather have the program with a ton of support. So it's been good so far. The transition's been a lot easier than I expected. I was a little nervous that guys would get shaky, right, when you have a big name like Kolat leaving. But obviously we have a good relationship with the guys on the team and good support. So just the handing of the baton was a lot easier of a process than I had imagined.
Cool. And I want to hear a little bit about Kolat, but I was thinking like. The coaches that I know that were around you, they've all been really great, like Borelli at Central Michigan. You were with Buckley for a few years at Cal Poly, and then, obviously Cary Kolat. What are like when you're thinking about like what pieces you want to take from each coach to incorporate into how you run a team? What different coaches are like providing you those certain things?
Yeah, I mean, with Coach Borelli, it's just regimented. So he's very well planned, very organized. He has very, very controlled over his temperament, right? So he's a very calm guy. He doesn't get upset with you for losing. But at the end of the day, you're going to work hard. You're going to be here at this hour. You're going to train. So I learned a lot of that regiment from him. Then going on and working from Buckley, Buckley was very good at the social side of things. I think he's very good at fundraising, which is why he's with Beat the Streets now. And Buckley understood I wanted to be a head coach, so he allowed me to kind of dip into everywhere, from the social media side of things to the academic side of things. Kind of taught me a little bit about fundraising that he could. And so I learned a lot. I learned how to take on a big workload because there we didn't have the director of ops or the social media guy. So a lot of it we were doing on our own, which I think a lot of programs are like that. And then obviously from Kolat, just him being so creative and the way that he manages people, putting them on their path. and then obviously just seeing what he's done here from alumni engagement to fundraising to just creating a competitive team to, I mean, everything just kind of, having his blueprints of things to run off of and add the things I've learned from other places. It's been awesome, Still calling other guys like Jason Borelli and, other coaches that I've come in contact with. But, those three, have been huge for me.
Yeah. Got to have a little bit of confidence knowing that you've worked close with all those guys. What are some things like, obviously what Cary was doing was great, but is there anything that you can think of that you're going to tweak a little bit in the coming years with Campbell?
So, I like the social side of things. I like to have some of the events afterwards. We didn't do a ton of that. We had some, but, I remember being at the NCAA tournament. If the alumni want to get together, we'll show up, but we never really, managed anything, right? And so I would say on that end, that's somewhere I want to put a little more time is look, our alumni are excited. I want to give them kind of that platform to showcase their excitement a little bit, get them together a little bit closer. And again, Kolat did a great job of that. And, but I felt like I could build on that a little bit for sure.
Yeah. So you've been working on building out your staff. So I saw that Wynn's over there. Did you guys wrestle together? Did you guys overlap at Michigan or no?
No. So Wynn actually coached me at Central Michigan. So
really?
when I was an incoming freshman, Wynn was a grad assistant there. So he actually was one of my coaches, and I've always looked up for Wynn. Looked up to Wynn. When somebody's from your alma mater and they've had success, you always kind of look and mimic what they did, and so I learned a ton from Wynn. And so it's I followed his career and went out to the University of Illinois as I think he started as a RTC athlete and then an assistant coach, and then Michigan State. So I've always kind of followed Wynn. But it is unique to have somebody who coached you join you back on staff. It's definitely, I can learn from him as well. I mean, he's been around the game a long time now. Yeah,
man, he's tough wrestler too. I followed him a lot, when he was wrestling senior level stuff.
Yeah.
But why bring him on board?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, I knew I needed a big guy. Let's be honest, right? When you're a little guy in our sport, you got to kind of have all the weight classes. So, size played a factor. But the biggest thing I saw in Wynn is Wynn wants to be a head coach one day, so he wants more responsibility. So I enjoyed that. I knew as a young head coach, I wanted somebody with more experience, somebody I didn't have to coach up, somebody that I could, hey, these are the areas. And so his area is performance side of things. Wynn is a guy that wants to be on the mat every day. He likes to run the room. He likes to plan out, hey, these are where guys compete. And that's something that I wanted onto my staff, right? I think Kolat was probably one of the best guys at running the room, so I knew I needed to kind of find somebody that could fill that role a little bit as well. And I think Wynn will do a great job at it. I know everywhere he's gone, the big guys have had a lot of success, and the team's had a lot of success, and I think because he does a good job on the mat.
Yeah. So any other positions that we're going to see? Any other coaches and be on staff?
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but I'll do it anyways, Joe. So Daryl Thomas, who is the associate head coach at Old Dominion, he's joining us. It's basically just waiting on his contract to get out to him. He's got to come here and do some things with HR. And this process has been pretty slow, just not being able to get guys off campus. And a lot of these, Wynn's coming sight unseen. He's never been here before. So, yeah, I'm excited about Daryl. Daryl, again, he was probably en route to be the next head coach at Old Dominion when Steve Martin retired. Yeah. If he ever retired, the guy might have been coaching at 95 years old, who knows. But he comes in with a lot of experience, too, and he's probably one of the best recruiters in the country. And every good coach and every coach that I've talked to that's had success says recruiting is one of the most important pieces. So it's going to be nice to have him kind of taking that channel of things. Yeah,
you're probably right about Coach Martin. I remember when I was a kid going to Granby camp, and his old man Billy Martin, right, he'd be running sessions, and he was not a kid. I think he had a cane with him, and he'd be instructing people and whacking you with the cane. But those guys, it's in their blood. With Daryl, man, did you talk to him at all about what happened at Old Dominion?
I did a little bit. I mean, he was in shock. when I talked to him. So it was actually kind of funny. I'll be honest, I didn't know who Daryl was. And all of a sudden, when Old Dominion got dropped, I got about, I kid you not, Joe, about 250 phone calls of people who were friends with Daryl, without even Daryl knowing about it, saying, you need to talk to this guy. And I said, well, who is this guy, you know? Like, why do so many people care about this guy, you know? So gave him a call. I asked a little bit about Old Dominion. They were pretty shocked. I think from his standpoint, he didn't really know about anything. There was a meeting that occurred that they were supposed to go over the budgets. And when Steve Martin got back from the meeting, he pretty much just sat down with the staff and was like, hey, we're getting cut. And so he seemed a little bit blindsided by it. It's not something they saw coming up the pipeline. But I think you and I both know that, you know, athletic directors, they don't come in and say, hey, we're thinking about cutting your program or this program. What are your plans? I think an athletic director says, you know, he makes the idea and the plan of doing it years or months in advance, and by the time he tells the head coach, it's hey, we're getting rid of you, right? So I think that's about what he had. He said he was pretty upset because he felt that there were some guys that would have donated big money had they had the chance to do so. I think there's some guy that's an actor that's tight with Steve Martin or something he was telling me about, but again, I don't know much of the detail. I just know that he didn't feel, and I don't think any of the staff there or any of the wrestlers there feel that they had really a chance to save their program, which is tough.
Yeah. What is there like? Do you have concern, or is there like chatter in the the head coaching community about more programs being dropped?
Yeah, so the NCAA, and again, Tom Borelli actually has a pretty good piece out there somewhere on YouTube talking about it.
I saw that.
But there was a piece basically allowing the NCAA to limit, not have a minimum amount of sports needed to be Division I, which would hurt sports like wrestling, sports like soccer, track, and so nobody knows what's going to happen with all this COVID stuff. But universities are hurting, enrollment's down, and so they're looking to make cuts wherever they can. So wrestling isn't generally a ticketed sport, so it's not like football where they can drive up tickets and make money, and so a lot of programs, I think a lot of people are worried about what's it mean for wrestling. What's going to happen? Yeah.
What do you think? Fans and wrestle. What are some things we can do to to play a role in making sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, so I know there's petitions going around, signing the petitions. That's big. And nobody's going to say this, but the biggest thing they can do is give. I mean, buy season passes. Listen, what separates us between wrestling and track and cross country? People are going to pay to go watch wrestling in an arena, right? People will go out to the University of Iowa and watch the best wrestling in the country, right? And so I think that's a big piece. I mean, buy the season passes to the programs you care about. Donate money. Now, listen, money's not everything, but I mean, it's a lot to these athletic directors and the universities, especially at a time like this where they're hurting for money, right? Finances are in disarray, and so I'd say go out and donate to that program you care about, or that program you don't want to see go away, because, hey, nobody in Old Dominion saw it was coming until it was too late. So I say get on it now. Get on it now.
Yeah. So what's exciting for next year? In terms of your team, I think when you were going to have 6 qualifiers. You had 6 qualifiers. NCAA, who's coming back? What's exciting? Here's some guys that are gonna make a name for themselves.
Yeah, so it'll be nice. Well, going up the lineup, you could have Zurich or Rosen, and 33 Hicksonball, 41. You have the Rivera twins coming in. You got Josh Howell returning. You got the Jason Kreiser and Barnes at 49. Back in Josh, 57. Delara. You got Chase Warden coming in, who's solid. 65. Austin Kreiser's down from 74. 74, Austin Murphy, who's pretty tough. He plays the University Nationals. 84, we might have Andrew Morgan, so we're fighting to get his year back, waiting to hear back from the NCAA with him. That could be huge. 97, Tail get in there. And then heavyweight, we have either Nix or we got a pretty tough kid from Michigan named Lucas Davis. So we have a pretty tough team. I think these guys are excited. They have a little chip on their shoulder. I think these guys want to be able to say, hey, we can win, without Kolat to an extent, right? Even though Kolat's gone, we're ready, we're prepared, we can still win. And so it's going to be exciting to kind of, showcase that a little bit.
Yeah. Nix, he's a guy, I saw him at Super 32 this year, a Florida boy.
Yeah. Big dude, big guy.
Yeah. Can you tell him a little bit of his story?
Yeah, so he actually, in my understanding, I could be wrong, he actually moved up to Fleming Island. He lives on his own. So he's like a grown man living on his own. Never won a state title until this year, senior year. And he just kind of took off, right? So in that time, he went to the grappler. He won the grappler. He placed third in Super 32, knocking off some pretty tough, PA state champ twice for third and fourth, and also in the quarters. So he just kind of had a really good summer. And he's just a kid. If you talk to him, it's always just about getting better in the next thing, right? He never really shows excitement for winning a certain tournament or doing well. It's always the next thing, and his goal is to be a national champ. And I don't see anything stopping him if that's what he really wants to do.
Awesome. Hey, you see my prop?
What do you mean your prop?
You see my prop?
Oh, the camel, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right before I walked out here, I remember I got that. I think it's a paperweight or something. My old man gave it to me a long time ago, but I thought I'd put that in there. So talk about being a grown-up. Now, I know it's a little bit different. And I've asked you this in an interview before, but I always just found it really interesting. Your senior year of college, you were married with a kid.
Not married. I had a kid, yeah.
You had a kid, and you were supporting a family, basically, right? So you were working, and that was also coming off of a back surgery, right?
Yeah. Times are tough. I mean, look, everybody's going to have those ups and down moments. I think we saw it this year with the NCAA tournament. You never know what's going to happen, but yeah, junior year, I was the wrestler with the big old pregnant wife that I'd go and sit next to after the duels and after the tournaments, and yeah, after my junior year, I ended up taking fourth. Had a baby, had to have back surgery, so I had my L4 and L5 were fused, and yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody's kind of got similar stories or ups and downs. Some might seem tougher than others, but something you grind through. It wasn't a big thing. I feel like I could have maybe grinded through better. But yeah, it's one of those moments where you say you never know what's going to happen. You tell guys on the team all the time. I know when I was an athlete, I had old guys tell me all the time, hey, you never know what's going to happen. But it's true.
Well,
and so just moments like that and moments like this NCAA, this COVID-19 stuff, I mean, those are just things you can point at and say, hey, take advantage of the time you have right now.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about it, you talk about like it's kind of not that big of a deal. I have one kid. My wife's pregnant, so we're going to have another. But, man, I'm not competing in a D1 schedule. And it's hard. It's more work. I don't think anybody ever knows how much work it is until they feel what it's like to have a kid. But your wife, she must be pretty awesome. Yeah,
she's awesome. She's great, man. She's definitely a wrestling wife. I mean, she loves me putting in the work. She likes to do her own thing and work, and so you definitely need that. I'm sure you know. You definitely need a wife that supports you, and I know you got that. So, yeah, it's been good. I'm lucky I didn't get a crazy one pregnant. That's for sure.
Yeah. So tell me, like I said, I'll have a daughter in September. What's the difference between having one kid and two? Right now, I have a crazy one. I'm hoping that my daughter's like a little bit more laid back. But I've heard some people say, "Oh, it's not that much different," or sometimes it's better because there's a kid to play with. And some people are like, "Dude, it's like triple the work." What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, so I have a crazy son too. So probably a lot like yours. I would say daughters, it's easier because it's just like if they're crying, it is what it is, sort of thing. You've already done it before. But I will say girls need more attention. I remember when Sega was a baby, I could just put him down and keep himself busy when he was really little. And girls, they just want to be held all the time. I don't know if it's just this one that I have now, but girls seem like they're going to be more work than Sega was, for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't think I mind that. So my son, the only time, he'll really like snuggle with me on the couch or something, I know he's sick if he does that. Otherwise, he's running around and trying to wrestle and stuff. So if he comes and sits on my lap, I'm like, yep, he's got a fever. He's definitely sick. Hey, tell me a little bit about your social media coordinator, Josiah. I watch his Fanco stuff, and I really like it. I think what he does is really cool. Actually, we want to reach out to him and see if he'll get on one of these videos with me. But does he just love wrestling or what?
Oh, huge wrestling fan. He's actually a Penn State fan, so every once in a while he'll post something about Penn State, and I'll have to give him crap. I'll say, which team are you on here? But yeah, he just loves wrestling. He loves the idea of it. My understanding is he was actually working for like a marketing company, so he had a real job, but he always did his wrestling thing on the side. Started a YouTube page that people started following. He just loves wrestling. Obviously, him getting to know Kolat was pretty cool. Kind of got his foot in the door to actually be able to pursue, his media marketing degree, as well as stick around the sport of wrestling and make money off it. And yeah, he's awesome. He's one of the best there is, and he just keeps getting better and better. He just made a recruiting graphic the other day that went off for a kid that we have coming in. So I just see him continue to get better and better. Yeah, he's good, man. He's really good.
What I really like is when I watch him, like he'll speak about like, ideas and certain things that are happening, and so he can make everybody knowledgeable, and he does that in a really clean way, and then also a little bit more high level stuff. He mixes it together really well, so I think it's for every wrestling fan.
Yeah, he knows wrestling too. He actually wrestled, so I always get if you have him on, you have to ask him about this. When we went up to Duel, Pittsburgh, I went up behind him and he's sitting down and filming. He sat his camera down. So I went up behind him and I got him, and he cleared me and he cut. And so all year, Kolat and Blaze and Mike Evans are all joking that Josiah can beat me in wrestling. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty good cut. I think I could have held him down had I known that I was gonna get crap, made fun of me and stuff. But no, he can wrestle. He can wrestle too.
That's cool. Yeah, seems like you got a good one. Oh, you could have held him down, Scotty. You were the king. You're king on top. What's the secret?
Everybody got a leg in.
Yeah. Also, could you connect me and Josiah in a text or something later on?
Yeah. I'll shoot it to you.
Yeah, tell me then, because you just used to crush people on top. What's the secret? What if you're saying some general ideas? This is how you got to be tough on top. What is it?
I just knew I didn't want to go back on my feet, so whatever it took.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, cool, man. Trying to think what else I have to talk to you about.
Let's talk about you. My turn to interview you, man.
Heck yeah, man. Please.
What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? So, moved back to Missouri last January, so 13 months ago or so. I hooked up with, there's a apparel company, a bunch of really cool dudes. It's called Blue Chip. And I don't work for Blue Chip.
Is that out of Michigan, Joe? Blue Chip, is that in Michigan? Or where
no, Kansas City.
Okay.
Kansas City. And so one of the founders, he had started doing some wrestling tournaments, and they started growing. And so they asked, I think Jason kind of knew that I wanted to be back in Missouri. He had a family, had been away for 10 years, and he asked if I wanted to start running these tournaments. And so I thought that'd be a good idea, a good way to stay in wrestling. And then what I compare with that really well is doing stuff like this and starting to do coverages like I used to do with Flow. I really love doing that. So I moved up here and putting on tournaments. We have 8 tournaments. Better start sending people to the Kansas City Stampede. It was pretty salty this year. It's going to be one of the top events in the country. Well, even higher than it. I think it's going to be in a discussion for top 3 tournaments here in 2 or 3 years. But man, running tournaments is hard. I didn't have any experience in it, so I'm still learning a lot and trying to get better at that. And as I get better and more efficient there, then I can spend more time traveling to wrestling events and doing coverages and things like that. So, that's what I'm doing, I guess, work-wise, and then trying to raise a son. That takes a lot of work, as you know. So my wife's here. Luckily, she's got the same job she had down in Austin, but she can work remotely. So she's a copy editor, and then also designs like magazines and things like that. So now we're in a little bit smaller place than she's used to. Before Austin, she was in London. So now we're in like a smaller town in Missouri. So a few days a week, we take Jack to school 3 days a week, and then she'll come downtown to work down there to get a little change of pace. But,
awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. My mom's across town, and then my brother's in Columbia, down about an hour and a half away. So it's really nice to be close to them again.
Yeah, I miss having family around. I'm sure it's nice if you want to take your wife out, do something. You have somebody to watch the kids you trust, and I'm sure it's a good time for you guys.
Yeah, I mean we miss Austin a ton. That was a really fun place. Mark Bader's like my brother, and he had a daughter that's just about Jack's age, so just a few months older. So we kind of went through that together. So it was a good situation. So that stuff I miss, but it's time to move, time to learn something new, and then also find a way to stay with wrestling.
Yeah, well, I'm happy you're with wrestling, man. You're one of the best there is out there. People like you. People like talking to you. So, stay around it. Don't stop. Stop.
I appreciate it. I'd love to come out, and I still haven't been out to that facility yet that you guys got. That's completely open, ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
Did you train in it all?
It's crazy. I don't know if you've seen pictures and stuff. It's
yeah.
Hopefully, I'd love to show you around, man. You're welcome here anytime.
Cool, man. Awesome. I appreciate it, Scott. All right then. Well, I guess I'm gonna go. We got a new bounce house in the back of the house. See, my neighbors, they had a trampoline, and so my son loved it. But then their daughters were like, left him a mean note, like to not use it, and so. One of my wife's friends sent this big old bounce house, and we have like a 6-foot rainbow sprinkler. So I'm like trying to set up the most awesome backyard. I'm just waiting for them to come ask me to use it. Which if they do, I'll let them. But then I'll teach them their share lesson.
Show with kindness.
Yeah. That's what we got to do. Awesome. Well, Scott, thanks so much, and man, like I said, super excited for you. You're gonna do an awesome job, and I look forward to seeing you in those big shoes.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe, man. I'm sure I'll see you around.
Take care, brother.
All right. See ya.